So here's a simple chart of anxious, avoidant, and anxious avoidant. So the book, or the attached book, didn't cover this fourth category, but a lot of the modern research calls this disorganized. So you get a little bit of both anxious and avoidant, or they call it fearful avoidant or something. And then they say everybody needs to get over here. But if you're over here, then you can be a con man, and you can con secure people because they're too naive and trusting. So I would say a secure person probably wouldn't do very well in jail or on the streets or in politics. We'll elaborate more on my argument of that secure isn't enough. You need a bit more description than just saying, don't be too anxious and don't be too avoidant. View people positive and view yourself positive. Because you can just be a fragile narcissist and just tell yourself you're positive and everybody loves you. And then you con yourself into being secure. Oh, look at Kurt's being our tech expert. Good. Because I can't diagnose everyone's tech issues. I bond with people too much. So that's too much bonding or not enough space. Yeah.
Yes, too attached. I get attached without a problem, and that certainly runs into trouble. I run into trouble
as a
with that.
teaser in the future, so there's two spectrums. So instead of breaking it up as anxious and avoidant, I would say there's contact. That's getting too close, getting close. There's a contact. There's a motion to get close, contact. And then there's space, because if you contact someone too much, especially their throat or their emotional throat, you can suffocate them emotionally. And people who grow up who are suffocated emotionally, they might want to be more space. So they're more avoidant. So the avoidance types are more space sensitive. And then the anxious types are more contact sensitive. But an anxious type will abandon you just as much as an avoidant will. An avoidant type will also reach out for contact. These are both moves. It's not black and white.
And what's the
So would you say,
Holly?
would you say it's more of, a phase that you might be in due to the circumstances you're in, or a crisis, or situational, or is there a type that we stick with mostly?
Well, when you're stressed, you do your childhood go-to. So if you grew up without secure attachment, then you have a developmental disorder. You don't know how to self-contain yourself. So you need somebody else to co-regulate. So when you're out in the world and you have emotional stress that overwhelms you, floods you, then you go back to your go-to, your childhood strategy, which would typically be anxious, avoidant, or a combination of both. And for codependence, some form of rescuing or people-pleasing. And then the people-pleasing is because of your own emotional wounds. So let's go to Grannon for a moment and see how this works.
And is the addict anxious the clingy type? Is that the clinging?
Yes, anxious
Okay.
would be the person who's clingy, who's trying to seek contact. And avoidant would be the one who might shut down or run away. So a clingy type, or that's overly needy, probably more anxious, but also has avoidant traits. Because both of these are just strategies of moving in or moving out. That's all it is, to simplify it.
Do you remember we talked about the ages, like, narcissism developing when you don't have that like mirroring between 2 and 4 or whatever the heck the age is? I've seen the psychological study, that are usually done with like 18-month-olds. And is that what this is? Is that time, or can it be later?
I think a lot of attachment theories based on watching babies, probably before 2 years old.
Okay, yeah.
And then they just project it to an adult, where I think that's the limitation and the idiocy of attachment theory. because they think that a mother-baby relationship should be a husband-wife relationship, and how does that fucking make sense? But it's very popular, and that's what they do. I would argue that you need to grow up from your toddler, 16-month-year-old, enmesh the style with your mom, be a fucking adult, have some boundaries, and grow out of this bullshit. But you have to first see what the pattern is, to grow out of it first. So that's today's, to show you what these dance moves are, and then hopefully at the end, Act 3, in the last 30 minutes, we can show you a more healthy style of containment, of both self-containment, collective containment, and relationship communication.
So is it true that the narcissist is avoidant and the narcissistic parent does not attach to the child?
Well, let's say you're a narcissist parent and your kid wants your attention, and you're a narcissist, and all you know is to hog the spotlight and hog attention. So you might take a baby trying to get your attention personal. So you would compete against your baby for attention. So then the baby would feel that you're being avoidant, because you don't want to give the attention because you're a narcissist. You feed off attention. So you might be good at, like, or if you're a narcissist, theoretically, you might be good at entertaining the kid, using the kid as a toy, as a prop. But as far as any emotional support, you're probably not there. Does that sound like a reasonable theory of how a narcissist and a baby would interact?
You described my wife.
Yeah,
So if that's how the wife just interacts with you, same thing with baby. Adria? Yes, no, or?
I was saying yes and no. I think that there's also kind of an evolution, especially among people I know who have mothers who are narcissistic. When you're dependent on them, you get less narked. And so as a baby, you probably won't get that mirroring and all the other stuff you need, but they are less competitive with you. And the competition really starts when you become an adolescent. So, I mean, you get a couple, narctations before that, but the real game amps up at like around 10 or 11.
Oh, so yes, so some narcissists like the supply of being a mother or a parent. And I think I have a video for this. I got too many windows here.
That describes my
Does
mother-in-law
this
and my
work?
ex exactly.
What, going for the supply of being a nice person or rescuer?
The being needed from the mother side, and then the almost punishing for when you strive for some sort of independence and independent decisions.
So yeah, I agree that maybe the competition might come later. So at the age 2 to 4, you as a baby, you're meshing with the narcissist parent so they can shape you and mold you. But after 2, when you start developing separation, you want to get your own identity. Slowly, your separation now is a threat to the narcissistic parent. So then you might start seeing their avoidant or anxious behavior to try to shape you or manipulate you, while you're trying to become self-contained, because that's the normal development, 2 to 4. This is an example of a mother grooming her kid. 1 in 2 minutes. Let's see.
To beautiful Palmdale, California. Mom helped me make friends right away. Our house was enormous like a castle, and for the first time, I felt completely free.
There. Now you're safe from that evil, filthy world. You're home, Jimmy. And you'll never, ever, ever have to go out there again.
Narcissist, right there.
And the prince climbed to the top of the tower and said, "Come with me, and we'll live happily ever after." Then Rapunzel left her plastic bubble and died. The end. Those evil doctors. Nobody's gonna get any germs on my little boy now. You'll always stay pure. Won't you, Jimmy? Jimmy! Brittany!
I had my reading,
I wish they had more than one magazine in the world, Mom.
So do I, dear.
my favorite TV show, Land of the Lost,
I wish TVs had more than one channel, Mom.
So do I, dear.
and I had the best teacher in the whole wide world.
And then the Indians decided to move to the reservations, where they could open casinos and sell tax-free cigarettes, and stay out of the white man's way.
Another A+.
So she's controlling the news story and the environment. Gaslighting, and he doesn't know any different. That's from Bubble Boy.
That's from Bubble what?
Bubble Boy.
Bubble Boy. Okay.
You might
Movie,
remember the John Travolta.
1990s, 2000. Not the original John Travolta one. Though that might have some good clips too. I didn't get a chance to review. Comment in the chat. My sister, who did everything my mother said, was golden child. If you question the narc, you become the lost child or black sheep.
Yeah, you get on their bad list real fast. If you have independence, you just have to be a yes person. That's
So
what I
you just
found.
want survival in the family. Yeah. And then that creates distorted identities. Or then that identity stays as an adult, and that's all you know. It's hard to break out of that childhood role. That's today's challenge.
Yeah, so I have difficulty. Like my parents didn't, I don't think they attached to me, but I had a twin sister and I had older siblings. And I think that's how I got my empathy, was my twin sister. And, but it was very easy for me to defy my parents. So I didn't get caught up in the narcissist control. But I certainly find myself attracted to the narcissists. So, yeah.
Ah, see? So you can fit into your family role, but if you're still used to a narcissist parent, you still end up being attracted to them as an adult. And then that dynamic might change a little. So many people want to memorize some stuff. This will be the only test, or whatever. 5 moves. Can people make sense of this? Or there's only 3. I think the first one and 5th one are just sort of idiot obvious. But Sue Johnson broke them into 5, so I'm going to go for labels first, then we'll try to simplify. Protest and push. That's going toward and making a demand. That's the anxious type. That's the anxious move in a relationship. The anxious type makes the initiative and says, I want something different.
Can you put that back up again? Oh, I guess this is the test now.
I'm trying to make it
Did
bigger.
we remember? Okay, thank you. Thanks.
And the second one is turn away. So you can take initiative and contact and get close and try to smother the other person or say, I want this, I want that. Why aren't you like this? We want whatever. The person making the demand, that's a protest. That's the initiative. Then there's the other reaction of saying, I don't have to do it. That's turning away. Or I don't hear you. I don't, whatever. I don't see you. That's turning away. That's abandonment. That's protection. That's withdrawing. That's defending. So protesting is a more anxious response. And then turning away is more avoidant response. Welcome, Carlos. Are people able to follow those 2 moves?
Yeah, that's the push-pull kind of, there's
Yes,
the push
see?
and pull.
Push, pull. Turn away is pull, even though but you're not fully turning away or using abandonment to try to negotiate your need. Muting. Okay. So push-pull, we all know this, we label it differently, but in this label, we're using protest and turn away, because we're going to use her labeling first, and then I'll try to tweak it if we have time. And then the third move is to escalate or amplify. I call this amplify. She calls it meltdown. Or we could bridge the gap and say tantrum energy. So the person who acts crazy wins. So 2 rules of dance. The person chasing is usually losing. So if you're chased, you have the advantage. So it's good to be chased, not chasing. If you're chasing, you're a loser. Oh, we've already gone 30 minutes. Okay, next 30 minutes. So if you're chasing, you're the loser. But if you suck at leading, you could try to do number 4. You could be good at melting down. So if you can amplify and blow up, you can be the crazy person. Crazy person wins.
Oh my God, that's what my
Does
husband
anyone?
always fell back on. He was always having these little tantrums and he hated to lead. And I kept wanting him
Because
to
that's those
lead
2
in a
things.
relationship. Yeah.
Leading, if you lead, you can win. The person chasing is always second. But if you can't lead, or sometimes you lose the lead, then you just act more crazy. You melt down.
Yeah.
The person who can melt down more, especially if you're good at directing your meltdown on the other person and blaming the other person, then the other person will cave and you lose. Or the person caving loses because the crazy person wins. Simple relationship dynamic rules. Is everyone able to follow this?
So the normal is just reaching for connection. So there's the 3 that you are dysfunctional, but the 2 that flank it, reach and reconnect, are the reaching is not what you normally do. You just reach out and someone responds.
Well, you reach out and then the person doesn't have to respond, but it's not as exaggerated. So when you reach out to somebody, you make a request. That's your protest. A normal person would still say, "I want this," or "Will you come to my meeting?" or "Will you come to this?" or "Will you go on a date with me?" That's a protest. That's a reach and a protest. But it's light. It's not a extreme emotional demand. If you want to escalate it, you can make the protest. It's like, "Will you come on a date with me? I'm the greatest person in the world. And if you don't, you're a loser because all these other hot people came on dates with me, and then I'm going to add more escalation to make it unhealthy." But I'm still, even if I'm healthy, saying, "I want to reach out to you." I'll make a protest. That's a demand. Will you go out with me? Will you come to my meetup? Will you go to this party with me? Whatever. That's all still 1 and 2, reach and protest.
I think it's also important to note that the whole turn away is when they go cold. It's like, oh, so you didn't want to come to XYZ in the 3rd. Well, it's because you don't love me. And that's where that turn away section comes in.
That's a good example. Cold shoulder, stonewalling, silent technique. But when you say cold shoulder, and then you now blame them and say this means this and that, now you've done turn away plus protest, because you're blaming them on top of your withdrawal. So we do both. You don't have to do one or the other. You do both if you're smart. If you're really smart, you do all 3 in the same word. Borderlines are great at that. You do all 3 and you stack it layered. That's like highly verbally super intelligent
And abusive.
and manipulative. So we're slowing down on these moves because when we go into analysis, I'm going to try to speed up and point out how all these things are going on at multiple levels. Even with Sue Johnson's model, she didn't really label every single thing. And also she sided with the anxious type. The person who's avoidant, who was getting flooded, his needs were ignored. But that's what therapists typically do. the person who wants space or doesn't have language, so they turn away and are shut down. They're flooded by the anxious person who melts down and forces the turn away person to cave.
Can you give an
Let's see,
example of
anything
someone doing
else?
all three?
Well, that's coming. That's the video.
Okay.
That's why I'm slowing down to lay the groundwork of the steps. So then you can maybe spot the steps better now that we covered it and talked it out. Yes, we'll translate into how this is good, healthy flirting steps. Because the steps are not good or bad. These are just natural steps that you would use in dancing, football, sports, walking in the street with somebody else. So let's say you're walking in the street with someone else on a hike. So if you're too far apart, then you reconnect because you can't hear each other. Or you're walking on the street or you're walking on the grass. You want to stay close enough so you can communicate. That's going in, pushing together. But then if you're walking on top of each other and you're walking each other's steps, that's too close. So then naturally you turn away a little until you find the right match of balance of walking next to each other without invading each other's space, but also without getting so far apart that you can't hear each other. Do you see how that's the same dynamics? Getting close, too far. We want to get the right amount of close and far, and that's flirting. So that's sort of good, healthy flirting is getting close, getting far, and just slowly synchronizing with the other person so that you're comfortable and the other person's comfortable. But flirting would add the angle of, oh, there's a future here. There's something that's potentially exciting in the future. So you also want to have some drama or some anticipation, some tension. Because if you're both the same and nothing's happening, that's boring and it's dead. But we're not talking flirting today. Anything else I missed in the comments? Why'd you throw in Jung and Freud, Kurt? What is that about? Explain yourself.
Oh, sorry. It was just that it's like that they get all anyone dealing with attachment theory. It seems like when they go off on this stuff, they're narrowing in on sort of subconscious, patterns that you may have established early on in life, and it gets less and less. Like as you overuse the analogy, it gets weaker and weaker as it gets further away from the. Just like you were saying that you should outgrow it by adulthood, that it sort of gets weaker. The analogies of the whole attachment theory gets sort of, in my mind, weaker as it applies to adults, and that it's really only if you're kind of in an arrested development state that it really still applies.
So you say it doesn't work for adults? Is that your counter?
I mean, that's the really, really simple version, but I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that it doesn't apply. It's just, I think it's a weaker tie.
It's stupid, yes. But
it's kind of
some adults act like babies.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid. It's basically it.
And maybe a lot of adults act like babies. So that's a nice segue or to introduce the analysis part of the meeting. So here's a 9-minute video with some analysis, and we'll do some breaking to break it down. So I tried to get you to remember the 5 steps, so we'll see how she introduces the 5 steps. And then this is an analysis of seeing the still face example. So you see still face baby, go through the 5 steps. And then you'll see an adult couple acting like babies and go through the 5 step. I would say the anxious person wins because she went crazy and then the other guy caved. But she doesn't say that. She says they reconnected and it's beautiful. It's up to you. Interpret it how you want to interpret it.
Our happiness. This drama has just 5 basic moves.
5.
We reach, invite connection. If we don't get a response, we protest and push.
Okay, so that's protest and push. I would say there's only 3 moves. Protest and push. That's going in, making a demand.
Or we turn away and shut down to protect ourselves from.
So to protect from rejection, we turn away or we create space. We cut off, cold shoulder, whatever. Second move. Third move. What's the third move? Who remembers? Everyone's muted. Too many people are muted.
It's the
Why is everyone
tantrum.
muted?
I forget what it's called, but it's the tantrum.
Meltdown. See?
Meltdown.
We all know this. We don't need Sue Johnson to teach us these damn words. We know these moves. We do these moves. It's easy. We go in, we protest, we make a demand. Or we cold shoulder, stonewall, cut off, abandon, whatever, retreat. Or we melt down, we amplify. I say amplify is, crazy person wins, so get good at amplifying. Be crazy. Go batshit crazy. Oh, even, so here.
You'll go completely batshit crazy.
So the more you do this,
batshit crazy. Batshit crazy.
Then you win using number 3. And number 3 is
rejection. We finally go into meltdown.
Meltdown.
In a good relationship, we find a way to turn back and reconnect.
I'd say all 3 are you're in a trauma bond. So where's the reconnect? You abandon and then the person chases you. And there's reconnect. Whereas the cord is still there, even though there's a physical disconnection.
I want to talk about this after.
Okay. We'll have time.
If we love, we will do anything we can to get a response from our loved one.
That's bullshit. Or is that true? What is this?
Not if you're healthy. If you're healthy, you won't do crap to
anything. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, this person's kind of strange.
She's codependent or fragile. Look at her eyes and stuff. Yeah, but I went to one of her conferences because I wanted to learn about EFT when it came to DC. And then she just like word salad craziness, but she's got a giant following. And it sort of works, her stuff, but it's highly cognitive, very mental. But this argument, we will do anything we can to get a response from a loved one. This is desperation. This is not being an adult. This is chasing. Oh, I read eye pupils. So she's sort of dissociated. And at the end, she almost gives the argument of saying that as long as I remember we're together now, everything else doesn't matter. So she's intentionally ignoring the past and future. Actually, Ed Tronick's eyes are even worse.
She's one of those who the ends justify the means. Doesn't matter how I manipulate you during the argument, as long as we come back.
I want the feeling.
Okay.
I want the response. Yes. Everything about simply getting the response of connection. That's all that she cares about.
Yeah, fuck your boundaries.
Or she over-prioritizes
during the argument, and as long as we come back together, then all is forgiven. Yeah.
I mean, his eyes are probably physically messed up, so you can't really blame him. But we're not going to dive into this fun side segue.
You look at
people reading. I read pupils. So I'm able to read emotions through pupils and reading people's soul. But I don't know who else can do that.
Eyes or dark eyes. Are you like shining light in our eyes?
I can somehow sense tension in people's eye pupils. Somehow I can see it. I'm not sure if it's in the eyes or something. It's what I pay attention to. Okay, this is the still face.
Is that something you learn? Is that something innate in you, or is it something you can learn and read about? The reading of pupils.
It's something sort of innate in me. There might be a way to teach it. generally they teach reading micro expressions. So the expressions around the eyeballs and these little gestures around the mouth and stuff.
There you go. Do you, if you can
There's more
you can start-
science and
start a
teaching on
series,
that.
teach this. You put up some YouTube videos.
Well, how do you
But it's
get
partially because I don't have micro expressions. I have limited expression range in the side of my eyes and the side of my mouth. So I'm more I hack that disability by reading people's pupils.
how do you how do you get confirmation of the validity of the insights you gain from that practice?
Well, it's a pattern. So I'm not only reading people's pupils. It gives me a heads up. And then if their behavior and their language and the pattern and the tone of their voice and the sound quality of their vibration matches, then I create a theory.
Where did you get that basis of experience and insight?
Trial and error. And also reading I've read a lot of body language books, and there's a lot of other ways of getting nonverbal communication. We sort of cover that later if we have time. What's our time window? 14 minutes.
It is interesting.
Why is this so interesting?
When I watched the video of her, I thought like my radar went off that something was wrong with her, but I ignored it. I'm not going to ignore it because I'm thinking, oh,
See?
she's an
So
expert.
you have the radar, just like I said, there's a radar. So she triggered my
Okay.
radar. That doesn't mean I didn't go to her conference. It doesn't mean I'm not using her stuff. Just because she's a little off doesn't mean she doesn't have something useful to give us. But her conclusions, I can disagree with. But you don't have to. You can listen to authority. I make it interesting, opposite. So I shit talk the authority, and then you can defer back to authority. Whatever you want to do, up to you. Let's walk. Okay, so this is potentially triggering because it's a still face based experiment.
Oh, it's not. Okay, it's high. It's high.
Oh, that's a side
Was-
comment. Okay. Or was that I muted you, Javon, because it sounded like you were talking to someone else. Do you want to join in? Okay, let's continue. So still face baby experiment. Be warned that this could trigger you, but the baby did not die. The baby just got still face for like a few minutes. Who the fuck cares? Okay, come on. But a lot of anxious people get triggered by this for some reason.
Like a girl. Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
So they're engaged
This
now.
baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her.
They're together.
They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby
Happy.
And then we ask the mother
Evil mother.
to not
Watch.
respond to the baby.
What does she do?
The baby very quickly picks
Nothing.
up on this. And then she uses all of
Look at
her
the baby.
abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points.
Look, mother. Look at my fingers.
The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?"
Meltdown.
She makes that screechy sound
There's a meltdown.
at the mother, like,
Oh, that's a
"Come
protest.
on, why aren't we doing this?" Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't
2
get
minutes.
the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions. They turn away. They
Look, he even turns away. I don't want to see the robot mother. The mother's too triggered. Or I'm too triggered, so I'm going to look away because this still face is too disturbing. And then there's a meltdown. I guess a meltdown's a bigger rage thing. I don't know.
feel the stress of it. They actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're
Here's the meltdown. Ah, it hurts too
Now
much.
let's look at the exact.
I'm so hurt. 2 minutes of not being seen by a robot mother. See? Abusive to the kid. See? That's sort of the triggering response. So we got to see the three moves: protest, turn away, and meltdown. Baby did that, right? And then Kurt made an argument that this is very infantile. It doesn't work for adults. Well, there's going to be an adult example. What are you going to say to that, Kurt? Huh?
It works all the time. That's why they get away with it all the time.
The same dynamics works as an adult, gives her income. Couples go to her, or people trained by her to use these same tactics of protest, turn away, and meltdown to manipulate their spouse, to get their spouse to cave in to the meltdown, because the crazy person wins in this model. See, narc will throw a tantrum too. Ugh. So are people ready for the adult example? Yeah, I guess we have to rush for this if we want to have any sort of hope at the end.
Same drama in an adult couple at a moment when emotional connection is lost.
We're going to be filming the session today so that you can watch it later, yeah? Okay, I'll be back in just a second.
So this is Ted. Ted's the avoidant. And Jill is the manipulator. Oh no, Jill is the anxious one. She's the victim. Or who wants to be Team Jill or Team Ted? Anybody want to join in first? I'm sort of Team Ted.
I'm Team Jill because she's the victim. I can see.
See it in her eyes, see it in her posture, see it in her attention. Yeah, the first thing she says, you can see how her tone works. So just pay attention to the nonverbals if you can, if you're super powered like me. Oh, another Team Ted. Poor Jill. Okay.
I think this is going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that we're going to have fun at my sister's birthday.
That's two demands right there. I think this is going to be good. That's a subtle protest. My thought of today is it's going to be good. I want you to agree with me that today's good, which means you need to get better in our dynamic. And then the second demand is where they start fighting. It's like, I also think that we're going to have fun at the birthday party Saturday. And this is where the chaos happens. Are you ready? Watch Ted try. He should have stonewalled better. But
On Saturday. I love when you and I do things together as a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a reach. I love when we do things as a couple. I would say that's a protest. They label it as a reach. And then this is Ted's response. And look at his tone and his body language and his defensive posture. But he says it so smoothly. He's very smooth.
Look, I think we already talked about this, so I don't want to go. It's just not my thing, so I'm just gonna stay home and watch TV.
Good boundaries, right? What? Shouldn't he be allowed to say no? No! Anxious person wins because you get this. What's she gonna say? She's gonna escalate. I think. I don't know.
But you said you would. And this matters to me.
You see the body language? She said, she went in, said, you said you would, and it matters to me. It's not like going, oh, what are your feelings? Why don't you want to go? What is your world? Fuck your world. My world is more important. It matters to me. You are doing stuff that matters to me. I'm Team Ted, so that's why I'm biased. Who wants to argue for Team Jill?
I'm on Ted's side now.
I think Ted should have left this relationship a while ago.
I'm not on either of them side. I think Ted looks like a fuckboy, so
Yeah, he's kind of wimpy. He should have made a stronger stand. So
Gotten to a place
Ted's kind of a loser too. But he's making a stand. He's got boundaries. What?
But I'm confused. Did he really tell her that he would? Is he breaking a promise?
Oh, we don't have that information.
And doesn't
She's
she
saying
get,
that.
and doesn't she get points for honestly communicating her needs and desires?
And leaning in and making an emotional appeal.
Yeah, but not for her demands if he has to go. He's standing
She is
around her.
assertive. She's more assertive. I'll give her that. Ted's kind of wimpy. So I'll agree with that. But Ted did make a stand and she just ran over it.
And also, he
Right?
looks like.
But
He looks like
he's checked out. Yeah.
English, like a party pooper. I don't want him with me anyway. She should be happy.
Yeah, he's a killjoy. Yeah. Jill's
think
much more articulate.
I think we're missing the point a little bit. I'm assuming they're a couple, married, whatever. And when you're a married couple, like you go to each other's family functions. I mean, you don't always love going, but it's what you do. I think in a healthy relationship.
Socially acceptable, healthy relation. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless there's the people have been like mean or whatever to you. I think it's also a way of
when
saying.
Ted caves, he explains why the family's
Okay,
mean to
so
mean
let's
to
watch
him.
the video then.
It does seem like more context would be helpful.
No, less context is more fun because we can argue about.
We could put our own
speculation.
Our own.
We're adding the context because we don't see it yet. And this also is removed from context because we don't have the earlier argument and everything. So it's been edited by Sue and whoever, Sue Johnson's team. So it's already manipulated. So, but let's continue.
It's important that we do things with my family.
It's important to me.
That we all be together.
We're together. They say this is no response. I say this is just turning away, cold shoulder, or he's still digesting. He's still thinking. So that's turn away. They label it as no response. Yeah, avoidant, turn away. That's a response. That's fine. What's wrong with that? Give him some time. Some time. Oh, there's the turn away. So not only did this. What's he looking for? What? Save me, therapist.
Yeah,
How do I get out of here?
Like he tried to climb into his seat already. So.
Where's my cave? Where's he looking? What kind of wimpy responses?
What is happening here?
Silent treatment. Anyone triggered? Some people don't like the silent treatment.
Her prodding emotional responses.
Look at her eyes. Yeah.
Triggering me.
Well,
She's
if
probing.
he doesn't. Yeah, but he's just sitting there not saying anything. I mean, if he doesn't want to talk, maybe he should leave.
Well, he was thinking
done.
about it. That's why he
He's done.
looked.
He's so exhausted with this issue.
Yeah, I'm completely imagining myself in like 15 years of failed marriage and like, oh my God, I'm gonna go shoot myself sitting there like that.
Dark. It's like, but real. Authentic.
I'm escalating the time by adding a pause. It's not that long. Just it feels long. Plus, I'm extending the time to make it feel even longer.
Are you going to talk to me?
Talk, Ted. Come on. Get with it. Do something.
Now you're putting up your wall, like you always do?
This is good. This is a nice tactic. Label the behavior.
Yeah, you
So
always
instead
do.
of saying
You're bad. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, always.
Yeah, instead of saying you're bad, you say you're putting a wall up, and then the second part is the protest, the add-on. You always do this, so that's the attack. But just labeling the behavior, this is a good technique. You're putting up a wall. That's disarming is tactic. I see you, but this part is amplifying. That's kind of vicious. That's why she's good. Plus, she's got the body language, and she's probing, and she's got that one-up posture. She's good, right? She's forcing a response. are trying to.
Are you listening to me? Look, I just don't see how your family reunion is my issue, okay?
Ha! See, she got a response. Are you listening to me with that added tone at the end? So then he got a defensive response. Say, not my issue. What else does he say?
Hey, look, can we talk about it later? We'll talk about it later.
Stall technique. Let's talk about it later. Not now. Later. Not now. It's too much. Give me some fucking space. But what does she say? No. She amplifies here. What's her amplify?
It seems like my feelings and what's important to me is never an issue with you.
This is okay, but this second part is amplified.
What the never.
My feelings are important, but you never ever pay attention to my feelings. That's a embedded threat that craziness is coming. If you don't change your behavior, I'm gonna melt down soon. You see how smart her language is? And she's got the body language. She's more predator. Or who's predator prey? Is this a predator posture or is this a predator posture? Who's prey? Who's frozen?
She sounds like a borderline.
Could be. It's not super crazy advanced, but she's using some of the same things.
Well, I guess I'm not going to be upset with him anymore because he's almost acting as if he is an abused husband because he's so turned off emotionally.
Yes, this is not the first time they've had this based on his body language. He's already tensed and ready for some assault.
He seems like he seems like he's just numb, dead inside.
Yeah. We gotta mute Brian because of your book noise or something. So he's now forced to come out of his cave. So he's gonna say some answers, but she's just escalating.
This matters to me, Ted.
This matters to me. Who cares about what you feel? And then you said you would come. We don't have that context, whether she assumed he would come or whether she manipulated him and he agreed or whatnot. But this second part is her take.
And you said you would come. No, we can talk about it later. You don't have to get so upset.
Haha. So the stall technique in the second part is you don't have to get so upset, which is saying, I'm scared of escalation. I want to stop the escalation. This is too much for me. That's what a more articulate person would say. But he's saying, you don't have to get so upset, which is just going to invite more upset, right?
Yeah, he's blaming her.
Yeah.
This is where I feel like we're not even a couple.
There's escalation. We're not acting like a couple. My feeling, we're not acting like a couple. You need to get in line with social guilt. Yeah. Oh, we're losing Mitch. Oh, so sad. Did he leave already? I think so. Yeah, people just leave and bam. He did turn away on us. I'm so abandoned. Okay, let's get back to the video. Okay, so this is guilt trip.
Like, you don't care about my feelings.
There, this is not true. He does care about her feelings because he says, I don't want you to get upset. Can we talk about this later? That means he cared about her feelings. His words were saying, I don't want your feelings to get all upset, which means I care. She's saying he doesn't care about her feelings. What she really wants is what? Asha.
I think neither one.
He's saying, I think he wasn't concerned about her feelings. He's just concerned about her
tantrum
on him.
They're both. I blame them
about
both.
her feelings.
Neither one of them is communicating directly or is communicating appropriately. He keeps withdrawing. Just say what you got to say. If there's a reason why you don't want to go,
Take a
say it,
stand.
damn it. Yeah.
Say something.
So
I
he's
agree.
getting what he deserves. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care how she berates him. He deserves it because he's not
he
telling her
deserves it.
why.
I can see that. Yeah.
I think there might also be another dynamic that you might not be thinking about. And that is that she goes absolutely batshit. And
Crazy.
In public, that is probably not good for him, right? Because people are going to decide that he's done something to her.
Yes.
And he has not, because he's not even looking at her or moving toward her in the way she's moving toward him.
But
So if I were in his situation, I would do the same thing. I might leave the room if I know she's going to go batshit, because the next thing you know, the police are coming and I'm dead and I don't know.
But she stays, or he stays. He's still
batshit crazy.
Going through this.
Batshit crazy. Batshit
Yeah, but
crazy.
why would you be married to someone who pushes you to that point where you lose control and then the police have to show up? I mean,
I don't know why I did.
I did it.
Sex.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
I don't know. It
Other
could be a sense of personal style, but when I see him just recoiling like that and turning away, it doesn't feel right somehow. It feels like he's sending the message to her that you don't warrant my attention. I'm going to disrespect you by turning away. And I know there's probably more context, and it's probably not like that.
Oh, there you go.
There's
Team Jill. Team Jill. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm but I always took it on the chin because I was willing to engage. It makes me uncomfortable to watch him saying, I'm not going to say anything, and you're talking right at me, and I'm just going to not say anything. That makes me feel really awkward, but maybe that's a better technique than the techniques I used. I don't know.
Well, they're in a dance. They're in a dance, and both are
dance.
responsible.
It's a dance.
They're both responsible.
I guess.
I agree with John. John is on point.
Could also be fear of abandonment. I mean, that's one of the reasons I stayed for so long. You don't even realize how afraid you are to be on your own and that you can make it. They make you feel that you have no power.
What if he's having an emotional flashback right now? That
he
he's
could be
reliving
dissociating.
being abandoned by his mom or his parent or something. He's reliving a childhood wound. Right? They're both having flashbacks. So let's go do this. Let's remember what the definition of a codependent is.
This is codependency, ladies and gentlemen. It is a neurotic drive. No choice, no freedom to serve. To submit, to fawn, to supplicate. It is the terror of negative emotions in yourself and in others.
Do they both have terror of negative emotions in themselves and others? They're both slaves.
Yeah.
They're both babies. They're both infants. Kurt's criticism of attachment theory. Yes, it works on babies, and it's from babies, but damn adults act like babies. So. But they're slaves. They're slaves.
Well,
they don't have a choice.
They're stuck in arrested development. They haven't gotten beyond. The early patterns that they learned.
They're not ready for
She's
prime time.
She's trying to serve. She's scared of being shamed by her family. To respond to Jocelyn, her argument is that a couple does this, my family does this and that. So she wants to be seen properly as
She's saying, you're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing me.
Now, she could have been honest and say, you're embarrassing me. But no, she's saying that a couple behaves like this, you're wrong. So she's not doing it in an open way. But she's slave to the social expectations also.
Can we never talk about these things? But now you're just being critical.
This is his Stonewall. This is where he gets a spine. So he's got some energy here. You're being critical. And that's not talking, So now he's criticizing back. Is this going to work? No.
And that's not talking,
Now she's got more of a less predator posture. She's sort of victim-y. Yeah, Adria had the nice body expression.
After this, I'm just going to go back to work.
I'm going to work. I'm going to go to work.
I'm all alone here.
I'm lonely.
Where are you anyway? Why do you have to make It's like a total emotional thing.
There, it's the same argument. Why are you melting down in front of me? Because I have fear of negative emotions, of you acting batshit crazy. And if I had the Q sound.
You batshit crazy. You batshit crazy. You batshit crazy.
That's what he's scared of. And that's what he's saying, but he's not saying it in emotional language. He's saying total emotional thing.
It's not a big deal.
And that's a counter. Your batshit crazy isn't so batshit crazy. So that's him attempting to fight back. And what you gonna do? He took a stand. What you gonna do?
Okay. Do I matter to you at all?
Oh, I'm sad.
The meltdown.
She won't accept the boundary.
You're mean. Mean and selfish.
Ah, right there. That's the first response. You're mean and selfish because you stated your boundary. You took a stand, therefore you're mean and you're selfish. And what's the 1-2 punch? There's another. What's coming next?
You don't care about anybody but yourself.
Why'd you marry me then?
Oh, number 2. That was quick. Sorry. You don't care about anyone but yourself. Things are escalating and got fast. You're mean and you're selfish. And number 2, you don't care about anybody but yourself. While she was doing the same thing earlier, ignoring his needs or his desire for space.
Projection.
Right? And then he speeds up, so he counters.
Anybody but yourself.
Why'd you marry me then?
Yeah, right here. This is pure abandonment right there. Why did you marry me?
No, pure abandonment.
Your fault you joined me. Why'd you marry me? It's your fault for you chose me. That's escalation. How she respond to that?
Question. Why did I?
Say. Now she does the turn away, but she does it better. She's got a turning chair. I don't know if his chair turns. So if you're having an argument with someone, make sure your chair turns so you can do the pivot.
Make sure you got
beautiful.
that pivot. Yeah.
That's added. It's better than just turning your body. Turn your whole body with the chair. Good question. Why did I? Oh, she comes back.
I don't care if I hurt. You're just not there for me.
There it is.
She came back. That wasn't long. What is that?
No.
Shutdown? Meltdown. Meltdown. No. This is her meltdown. Are people ready? I don't think it's that much of a meltdown.
Bring on the tears.
Yes, tears are coming. Jamal? Oh, tears. You're predicting tears.
Mm-hmm.
Ben sees tears. Oh, people are predicting he's going to cave. He had a win. He should just hold on to his win, let her cry. But no. Why? He shouldn't cave. But let's see. Oh, the tissues. Oh, we don't get to see the
When
tears.
you feel cut off
We don't get to see the tears. Okay, we assume she cries.
from our loved one, we go into a kind of panic.
That's not panic. That's
batshit crazy. Batshit crazy. You'll go completely batshit crazy.
You do this all the time.
Batshit crazy.
You do this because batshit crazy wins. It works. Okay, so they do some bullshit. And then the reconnect is here.
Adult and infant. Now let's see a moment of repair in both relationships.
Okay. I'm here. And what are you doing?
Oh,
Miles.
they reconnect.
Miles, would you pump some gas in the car? Thank you.
Gas. Muted. Okay. So baby and mother reconnected. That was pretty boring. She's been crying for like 10 minutes. I'm adding drama. Maybe. How long do you think she cried before he caved?
30 seconds.
A couple minutes, who knows? Probably not long. Not long. There's only one tissue, right?
Give it like 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. Then he jumps in.
Okay, look, you're really upset, and it's not you, okay?
Yes, it is her. How is it not her? She just went batshit crazy.
Batshit crazy. Batshit crazy.
That's why he caved. Now he's saying it's not her. Okay. What is it then?
It's not you. And you're right, when it comes to this topic, I shut right down. It's just your family. It's just so intimidating. And, they're always asking questions about my career.
So it's not her, it's her family. And her family are also crossing boundaries and asking about his career and all this stuff. Where did she learn how to cross boundaries? Oh, her family, who also crosses boundaries with him. Okay. And he doesn't know how to stand up to her and also her family. So same pattern.
And how I'm doing.
How we're doing. How your sex life. Where's the baby coming? How's your decoration? They get into all their business. And her family's probably white. What's up with that? I thought I'd throw a racial jab.
How we're doing, and it's a little much. I just
block it out.
I just block it out. Okay.
Yes.
But it's not.
It's not you. It's your family.
I'm really upset right now, and I don't want to see you upset, and I don't
want to see you.
Think that I don't care.
So here is where he loses.
I think they're Canadian. That has to be part of the explanation.
Canadian. Sue Johnson is like English, and she's sort of up north, maybe. I don't know. But right here is the problem. Right now, he didn't just cave. He says, "I don't want you to think." So now I'm helpless to your thoughts, and I'm also helpless to your feelings. Your opinion of your feelings is now in control of my behavior. That is a lose. That is Richard Grannon saying...
Yeah, he's boundaryless. He's boundaryless. Sorry.
He's codependent right here.
This
right here
is codependency, ladies and gentlemen. It is a neurotic drive.
Both
no
of them.
choice,
But
no
she won.
freedom,
She
to
won.
Serve.
He's serving
to
her.
Serve, to submit, to fawn,
because
to supplicate. It is the terror of negative emotions in yourself and in others.
Her feelings, her upsetness won.
How are you feeling? So, or when this thing is done, we'll get out of here and we'll talk some more.
Oh, that's a bait. He didn't say he's going. That's good. We'll talk some more.
We'll talk some more because you're right. We have to.
That he didn't say he's going. He's still stalling. Yay, Ted.
Yeah,
That's
but he got out
cave.
the issue. Yeah, he got out the issue.
Not a full cave, but he did say he's scared of her emotions and her upset. So she sort of won more.
Talk, okay? Okay,
babe? Reconnect.
I'm sorry.
Do you see this duper's delight here? I won this. I'm in control. Batshit crazy won. But I need to look sad. But I'm happy because I got the upper hand.
This is the moment of repair that seems to separate love that lasts from love that ends up in the divorce court or constant conflict.
Where's the fucking repair?
Well,
every bond has moments of painful disconnection.
Okay.
But as long as there's a way out of the aloneness and the connection can be restored, the bond becomes safe again.
Who cares about the bond? This is a need that she wants him to go and he needs space. There's two different needs, not about a fucking bond.
But I think that he could have intelligently expressed his need. He was very non-communicative, which led to her going batshit crazy. He owns some of that. He owns some of that. He could
responsible for her being batshit crazy.
No, he's responsible for her trying another tactic to get communication.
So going batshit crazy is a tactic.
Well, communication is a dance, as we're learning, right? So she's on the floor, she's doing the move. He turns away. He doesn't do anything. She steps on his foot. Now he's in pain. Now he responds.
So stepping on someone's foot is just
It's not good. Yeah, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that he owns part of this. He could have in the beginning. We never had to go here. He could have said,
That's an apologist opinion to say that it's 50-50. Everybody's responsible for half, and she pulled out a gun, and it's his fault that she pulled out a gun. He should have been nicer, so that she didn't have to go there.
Should she have
Well,
just
he
swallowed?
should have been. He should be man enough
They're both
to face her
losers.
family. Yes, he should be man enough to face her family.
I don't know whether emasculation is really a good tactic.
Yeah, and I don't think
man enough.
Yeah. He doesn't have to go. He doesn't have to go. But we're adults here, so I think that he could have just said, "Hey, look, this is how I feel." She's like pulling teeth to get a conversation. She could do what a lot of us do. She could just swallow her emotions and just sit there.
This is so codependent.
This is codependency, ladies and gentlemen. It is a neurotic drive, no choice, no freedom, to serve, to submit, to fawn, to supplicate. It is a terror of negative emotions in yourself and in others.
Why do you care about Jill or Ted? Granted, I wanted you to care and baited you to say who's Team Ted,
Because we
who's
see
Team
ourselves.
Jill. Who the fuck cares about Team Ted or Jill? This sort of argument happens every single day in tons of families, and you don't care. Why do we care that much?
Power.
I care because it's an example to teach you how to do dance moves, but why do you care about the outcome or who's right or wrong? Really?
Triggered.
Who cares?
Triggered.
Yeah, how are we triggered?
No, actually, the trauma is when you realize that nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
So you codependents care because the rest of society doesn't give a fuck about your trauma or other people's trauma. So you overcare, and you project it onto Ted and Jill. But who the fuck cares? Really? Who knows? Maybe they're divorced. Maybe they're happy. Who knows? We don't have that story because all we have is this clip, and we got robot eyes. Let's see the end of this.
I mean, but Ted has issues standing up for himself in her family.
Yes.
I mean, why
Ted's a
should there have
loser.
been all this ongoing? Yeah.
And Jill's a predator. Jill's pretty sexy. Yeah. She's probably good in bed. That's why he's still with her. What? Didn't she look athletic? He looked athletic, right? Let's see.
Well, he did have something to say, and he chose not to say it. He said, we talked about it before. And again, I don't have the context, but why couldn't he just say, all right, we talked about it before, and then skip ahead to the step where he says, and this is why I'm not going. But then again, you can't.
Because he's on camera. Maybe they both know they're on camera, so she's playing to the camera just like he's worried about the cameras. And we're going to talk about later where I can bitch slap you or something. Or I can use something else. I can use shiny gifts to distract you. We don't know. We don't have behind the camera after video. Sorry.
None of this really resonates with me because I'm an avoidant. So that conversation would have ended a long time before that.
You wouldn't join. Ugh. So let's get the ending here. I don't know why she ended this with this statement. Maybe somebody can tell me.
Is often defined by how we deal with our fear of disconnection. And if we're able to move into repair, we are learning to actually shape the dance called lasting love and togetherness.
This is called manipulation, but she calls it shape. But this is essentially manipulation. Adria, you're muted.
Just saying,
Do you want to?
lost in love.
Oh, and she's got the accent, yeah?
Imagine that.
Don't imagine that. That's manipulation.
This changes everything. You know, Ed,
And this
it
is her
reminds me
closing comment.
of Walt Whitman's comment on life. He said, "We were together. I forget the rest."
This is her closing comment. What the fuck does this mean? Why is she ending it with this comment?
Forget that I like beat you. I went batshit on you. I keyed your car. I put sugar in your tank. I cursed out your mama.
But we were together. But we were together. I
We
forgot.
weren't alone.
Did all that
Who cares about the dysfunction?
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
That's the end all be all, man.
We're together.
We can be together with somebody who isn't toxic.
Yes. So.
Also, that sounds like selective memory. Like they just.
You need some defiance, man. You need some fucking spine. You should fight.
That's for Ted. Sorry.
Well, that's how you end up needing an eye surgery. So sometimes.
That's where you learn to be avoidant, where you keep out of the way of eye surgery.
Yes.
Or ice picks or whatever. You're not a good
These are the
good
people
avoidant.
that these are the people that say that what you must do is save the marriage, and that's not the case, because if it's abusive, you don't save the marriage. You get the abused one out.
Well, it might not be abusive. Who knows? But they definitely don't communicate very, very well. Yeah.
Well, if it's with a narcissist, we know it is.
Okay.
So that went too long, because now we have 4 minutes. 4 minutes to give you an answer. Yeah. I fail. Sorry. Who won, Team Ted or Team Jill? Or Team Sue? Or Team Kurt, maybe? Kurt's critique that attachment theory doesn't work for adults. Does it? Or does not?
Well, it might be just a way to explain how, because definitely narcissists revert to a real infantile emotional, posture. And so maybe that's a way to explain that this is what people do, but it is something that we ought to, as you said, overcome as we mature and are more socialized and more adult.
It's hard to do. Let's see if this technology works.
Manipulative Jill won.
Yes, Jill won. Though Ted did stall. He said, we're going to talk about it later. So he didn't fully cave.
I'd say they're time, honestly. I wouldn't say anybody won, but they're definitely like you should be.
It pays to be a narcissist or manipulative.
So due to time, I can't set this up, and I couldn't customize this properly. But we'll see if it makes sense. And I'm using new technology to port my tablet onto the computer screen. Look at that, wireless.
Wow.
Just be wowed by. So I made this diagram and I did some quick edits to try to share how containment works. And then we'll throw this out here and maybe 2 weeks we might revisit. Let's get the timer off. Okay, so there's 2 moves. Protest, push, and turn away. Right? You remember those 2? And then the third move was meltdown. On this chart, protest, push is contact, but too much contact. That's enmeshment. And then abandonment is a need for space. So as a human being, we all need contact and we need space. but we need the right amount of space and the right amount of contact. Too much contact is enmeshment here. Let me go increase my cursor. And next time I might get transcription, but I don't have that yet. So too much contact here is enmeshment, flooding, protest, push. Too much anxiety. This is modern society. Everyone gets anxious and bleeds their anxiety on you, on everybody, and everyone gets triggered and anxious. And then there's all kinds of rescuing, punishing, all kinds of this. Don't have time for that. Okay. Or we turn away, cut off, boundaries. We didn't get Alex here, but she did RSVP, so she's boundary person, but she didn't come and abandon me. But we have therapists who try to counter this because there's too much anxiety. So the answer is more space. So what they say is you need to abandon people, set boundaries, become a better avoidant. But it's not black and white. It's both. You need enmeshment. You need contact in space, but not to the level of enmeshment. Okay, final 12 minutes. Summarize. So we need contact in space, and that's what a mother's supposed to be. Mother's supposed to do contact in space, so it's this. So it's you have healthy boundaries here in green. So the mother gives you containment of proper contact and proper space, so you can explore as a child and develop internal boundaries, internal security, internal trial and error. So then you have healthy boundaries that can expand and shrink depending on who you're with, which group. But if you're invaded, where these boundaries are porous, or broken, or destroyed, you melt down very easily. Your boundaries fall apart. That's a meltdown. So meltdown, tantrum, is when your boundaries fall apart. Then you're just pure emotion. That's the 3 moves. So you got going in for contact, enmeshment. You got turning away, cut off. Or you have meltdown, where your boundaries fall apart and crazy person wins. The person with the best meltdown wins. And meltdown is when you feel shame and you just dump it onto the other person, or you just dump it on anywhere. You just go.
You batshit crazy. You batshit crazy. You batshit crazy.
And that wins. Batshit crazy wins. So then when you have porous boundaries, then you can hang out in these 4 categories, which doesn't matter that much. You can be focused on too much rules, which typically codependents are. Too much in your head. So you think about a bunch of top-down rules to blame yourself or blame other people with punishment or judgment. Inner critic, here you got exile, and here's control. Or you can be too shameful, so then you're just rescuing and people-pleasing and fixing, seeking comfort. Or you just zone out and dissociate. And then here I wasn't able to link it perfectly, but there's 2 ways of learning behavior, top-down and bottom-up consequences. If you have this model, if you have healthy boundaries here, then you learn in your holding environment. Through trial and error, you develop boundaries. Then you can go into the real world and then make mistakes in the real world with new people. Then you create new rules, internal learning, which is bottom up. You learn from experience, you learn from proxies. That's what this group is trying to be. We're trying to be a proxy to practice how to have better communications by fucking up, by getting all triggered. We practice here, then you can deal with normal people with better boundaries, because I'm trying to create a holding environment here so that you can find yourself. Your true self, not your fake self over here. Your true self is here, but without a holding environment from your mother or your parent, it's this one, which could be a better graphic, but I didn't have time. So these boundaries are broken. So now your self here is just a big blur. And you're just flying around in enmeshment. Okay, 8 minutes for question and answer on this. Did any of that make sense? This would be my mind, or this is
Awesome.
the model
Did you
of
make that up?
broken
'Cause
boundaries.
that's pretty awesome. Did you do this yourself?
Yes, I
You
made
created
this. This has a clip art from
Awesome.
Containment
You
about
should
a year
trademark
ago.
it. You should trademark it.
And then I tried to link it to today with this.
Can we get a copy
And
of
then
it? Or
yeah, I'll put it on the meetup.
Wonderful.
And
Thank
then
you.
in 2 weeks, if I can link that. There's 2 ways of changing behavior based on ABA, behavioralism. You can do cognitive, which is how we learn, top-down rules. So right now, this is me giving you top-down rules, but it's a map. Instead of me saying doing these 5 steps, I'm saying this is the map. This is it's inexact, but it's close to how to navigate the territory. Now you have to use the map and you have to go drive in the territory and you have to learn your territory with the map. So that's why you still have to use bottom up here. Bottom up is contingency learning, which I don't have time to cover today. But in 2 weeks, this is how we train dogs, but this is also how humans learn. We use positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. This is called operant conditioning. This is what social media does to control your attention. They use reinforcement schedules to capture your attention and keep things interested and keep you hooked. Advertisers use this. Behavioral economics uses this. But this is all psychology, behavioral analysis. But since we're stupid, we just use the punishment side to try to control negative behavior. We don't spend any time trying to create positive behavior. Reinforcers. We only give people cookies and stars. That's our positive reinforcement. So no meeting is finished until we have this.
Come for this cookie. Nom 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 nom. Oh, nom 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 nom. Ah. Bye-bye.
So we give empty calories of cookies. That's positive, but we don't give relief. Negative reinforcement, no one knows. So by me giving you a good map, that's a relief. Now you have less confusion because the map makes sense. This map allows you to see your behavior, make sense of it. So now you have more mental energy to take on new tasks. So that's better than a cookie. That's a negative reinforcement because now you have less stress. So I'm giving you a reinforcer by removing confusion. For some people, or the idea is for some people. We'll see.
And why do some things have lines through them? Like the whole.
These are when you melt down. So in an ideal situation, you have containment where you have controlled boundaries, where you have all these qualities for a contained, healthy, holding environment. But when you don't have boundaries, or you had enmeshing parents or avoidant parents.
Can you read those inside the green circle? The positive things in the other one? Because I can't see them on my phone.
Oh, yeah, it's tiny in the phone. So you develop a sense of self because you have a good enough mother. That's using D.W. Winnicott's terms. Who's I think he was a Jungian, or he's under Jungian. So that's the link to Kurt's critique of Freud and Jung. If your mom provides this, or your parents, someone in your family provides this, they provide a nurtured holding environment, which allows you to be seen and met. So then you can have a healthy level of containment. And they also give you enough space, but they're also there to stay with you. They don't give you too much space where you're abandoned. They give you enough space so that you can play and explore. So they're with you, but they're not too much with you. So they allow you to play, but they're still with you, but they're not constantly managing you like current teachers. We have too much administration now, so there's not enough space. So not enough space means you need more top-down rules because you can't explore your environment. You can't fix things by yourself in your own group. You need to go to teacher or police because not enough space, too much contact, not enough proper nurturing. Okay?
Thank you.
But we'll try to cover this better in maybe 2 weeks and try to link it to ABA, because ABA, it works. So these are the ways to control behavior: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, extinction, and some other consequences. Because that's what your mammal, your heart brain, your emotional brain responds to, your autopilot. So you can condition your autopilot, and you can condition your partners and your friends' autopilot. We use this too much when there's all these other motivators to change behavior. But ABA has a lot of complicated jargon and stuff, so I have to figure out how to present it in an easy way. But that's the teaser to manipulate you to come back in 2 weeks. And so I can still manipulate you and tell you, and you're still hooked, because that's how behavioral conditioning works. Your emotions drive your attention, not your mental rules and bullshit. 1 minute? Anything? I was going to do this all meeting, but I didn't get to use this as a negative reinforcer. You could bring down my level of concern. Just need you to tell me we're alright, tell me we're okay. I was going to just keep playing that on loop to annoy you to crap, so that you would say, this person's so fucking needy, I don't want to hear this song over and over again. I was just going to just... level of concern. Just need you to tell me we're alright, tell me we're okay. Just loop it. Oh, I can loop it, that's right. You could bring down my level of concern. Just need you to tell me we're alright, tell me we're okay. You could bring down my level of concern. Just need you to tell me we're alright, tell me we're okay. You could bring down my level of concern. Just need you to tell me. You see how annoying it is to hear someone just keep whining? I need you to tell me we're okay. Are we okay? Are we okay? Just tell me I'm okay. Are we okay? You see, anxiety is fucking annoying.
Well emphasized.
But that song's perfect for that longingness.
That's the state the narcissist gets you in.
In my case, that was the state of my narcissist. Like he was much more anxious. I'm more avoidant. So I got the calling and texting all day and all night, and I'll wear you. And then when I get home, if I'm going out, he has to come with me, and then we're going together, and then so yeah.
Alright, tell me we're okay. You could bring down my level of concern. Just need it's all about my anxiety. Please tell me we're okay. Tell me. Level of concern. Okay, that's a good ending. Tell me we're okay.